In today's video, I'll guide you through how to play Baccarat. We'll explore the core rules you need to know to test your luck in this game, and we'll see some strategies that can help you win. Make sure you watch until the end for all the valuable insights. Welcome to Ninja Gamblers, the ultimate destination for quality casino content. Here you can find the latest info and strategies for roulette, blackjack, poker, slots, and more. If you want to stay ahead of the game and be best equipped to try and beat the casinos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. In the link in the description of this video, you can also find a link to our Telegram channel, where we share extra content that never makes it to YouTube. And you can also find a list of safe licensed casinos we recommend, with free money bonuses that they offer. Alright folks, by popular demand, many of you have asked for it. Today, we'll open a new chapter on this channel, Baccarat. This is the first in a series of videos where we'll dissect this fascinating game. Today, we'll cover the main rules, the gameplay, and the essential strategies to try and win at Baccarat. First off, as usual, I'll be playing at one of the casinos on my list. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, let me clarify quickly. There are numerous online casinos out there, but many of them aren't certified and operate in countries with lax regulations. And you know what can happen? They can vanish with your money, lock you out for no reason, or even cheat you deliberately. To avoid these pitfalls, I recommend playing only on certified casinos based on your geographical location. Depending on where you live, in fact, playing in unlicensed casinos can even be illegal and could get you in trouble. So, I've compiled a list of all certified casinos in each country, including yours, which you'll find in the video description. The list also compares the bonuses these casinos offer, as some provide free spins or complimentary cash. Alright, let's get going. I'll use the first person Baccarat for one of the licensed casinos in the list. Here we are folks, at the Baccarat table. First off, the game is basically based on betting on two main participants, the banker and the player. Now, if you're familiar with blackjack, you might think this means wagering on yourself against the house. But no, this isn't blackjack. Banker and player are simply designations for two separate hands, both managed by the dealer. Honestly, I'm not sure why they chose those names. They can be confusing for newcomers. They might as well be called Hand 1 and Hand 2. Both are controlled by the dealer, so unlike blackjack, where you decide to hit or stand, here you don't make decisions about the hand. In fact, the game itself doesn't make choices. It adheres to very clear rules depending on the cards drawn, which we'll get to shortly. Now, let's get to the heart of the game. Both the player and the banker are dealt two cards, and their values are summed up. In Baccarat, card values are specific. Aces are worth 1, cards from 2 to 9 hold their face value, while 10s, jacks, queens, and kings are worth 0. So, for example, if the player's two cards are a 5 and a 2, that hand's total value would be 7. But if the cards are a 10 and a 5, since 10 is 0, the hand is worth 5. But how about a jack and an ace? That would be 21 in blackjack, but here the total value is just 1, the worst possible. In Baccarat, the total can't exceed 9, so if a hand totals 10 or more, you drop the 10s. For instance, a hand of a 7 and a 9 would add up to 16, but since that's over 10, it counts as a 6. If the total is 22, it counts as 2. So yes, you remove the 10s. In a nutshell, the gameplay is somewhat akin to blackjack. The aim is to get the hand value closest to 9, but not over it. If either of the two hands has a total value of 8 or 9, it's called a natural, and that hand wins immediately. If one has 8 and the other has 9, the 9 wins, of course. Otherwise, if both hands have a total below 8, the game proceeds with specific rules to determine if the player or the banker draws a third card. These rules are known as the third card rules, which you can see in the chart I've prepared for you. Don't worry, they might seem complex, but they really aren't. So, as you can see, the player and the banker behave differently. First of all, if the player has an 8 or 9, the natural rule we mentioned earlier kicks in, and whoever has the highest natural number wins instantly. If the player has a 6 or 7, they won't draw another card and will wait to see what happens with the banker's hand. But if the player has between 1 and 5, they must draw a third card. Simple so far, right? Now, let's talk about the banker, which is a bit more complicated. The player always draws first, and the banker's actions depend both on its own total and the value of the player's third card, if drawn. It follows a specific pattern, sort of like what we use for blackjack. In short, the banker will draw a card if it has a total between 0 and 2. With a total of 3, the banker usually draws unless the player's third card is an 8. From that point, various rules dictate when to hit or stand, depending on the player's third card. If the banker has a total value of 7, 8 or 9, it won't draw another card under any circumstance. After the drawing phase is over, the totals are recalculated. Remember, in Baccarat, you drop the 10s for totals above 9. So, if the player initially had a 3 and a 2 and drew a 9, you might think the total is 14, but after dropping the 10s, the total is actually just 4. So drawing cards isn't always a good thing, unlike in blackjack. Okay guys, if you're feeling overwhelmed by all these numbers, fear not. You don't actually have to worry about any of this. The dealer will handle all these calculations swiftly, you just watch. That's why Baccarat is a great game for beginners. Even though many think it's complicated, it's really not. You don't have to make any decisions like you would in blackjack. So, what do? What do we bet on? We wager on which hand will win, either the player or the banker. As you can see, we can place any amount we like on either the player or the banker winning. They'll perform all the mathematical wizardry I've just explained, and then we'll know the outcome. You can also place a third type of bet called a tie, meaning both hands will end up with the same total and nobody wins. There are also various advanced bets, which we'll cover in a future video. If you're interested, comment below with make a video on advanced Baccarat bets. Now, what are the payouts for these bets? The game itself tells us. Betting on the player pays a classic 1-to-1, so if we win, we double our bet. However, the bet on the banker pays 0.95 to 1, which is slightly less than even money. Think of it as doubling your money minus 5%. So, if you bet €1 and win, you get €1.95. We'll get into why this is in a moment. Finally, the bet on a tie pays 8 to 1, which means you could win 8 times your initial bet. Now, let's talk about winning odds. You might be tempted to dive in and bet on a tie because it pays so much. However folks, it pays high for a reason. The house edge is 14.36%. That means you have low odds of winning when you bet on a tie, and you're basically giving away your money to the casino. No thanks. The winning percentages for the player and the banker are much higher, and slightly different from each other. The house edge for the player is 1.24%, while for the banker it's 1.06%. That's why betting on the banker pays a little less. It's statistically more likely to win. Now, let's touch on strategies briefly. Baccarat has fewer advanced and complex strategies compared to games like poker, roulette, or blackjack. The most straightforward and fundamental Baccarat strategy is this: always bet on the banker. Since it's the hand that statistically wins more often, you're more likely to win by betting there. Simple. Another effective strategy: avoid betting on a tie, as it's the least favourable bet for the player. These simple adjustments can significantly improve your luck in Baccarat. Of course, luck is the primary factor in Baccarat, as with all casino games, since the house edge is never 0. Remember that. There are more advanced strategies where it might make sense to start betting on a tie, but we'll discuss that later. Okay, let's make a quick demo bet to refresh all the theory we've covered so far. I'll place a base bet of €5, and as I said, I'll bet on the banker since it has the highest winning probability. Let's spin. As you can see, everything happens very quickly. All the calculations we explained earlier are taking place, and here's the result. The banker wins, which means we win. And so we end up with €9.75. The dealer did everything, but let's quickly analyse what happened. The player had an ace and king, making 1. The banker had a king and 7, making 7. Since neither had a neutral, they drew cards. The player goes first, and with a 1, must draw. As you can see, when a third card is drawn, it's placed horizontally like this. The card was a face card, so in reality, nothing changed for the player, and so the banker wins. Alright, let's go for another round. Again, €5 on the banker. Once more, everything will happen very quickly. And we win again. Let's analyse what happened. The player had 2 face cards, making 0. The banker had a 10 and a 6, making 6. Neither had a natural, so the player draws a card. and it's a 2, bringing him only to 2. According to the rules, the banker stands if his total is 6 and the player's third card is a 2, so the banker wins with the higher number. So guys, you've understood how it works. I've explained to you in detail the mechanics behind the game, but in fact, the player doesn't have to do anything, the dealer does it all, making this a really easy and relaxing game, especially for beginners. As you've seen, the banker is often the one who wins more frequently, which is why it pays less. Obviously, in the long run, the luck factor is always there, because the house edge never goes away. Alright, but are there more advanced strategies for Baccarat? Yes, and soon on my channel, specific videos will be released for each of them, like the Fibonacci series or the Method 32. There will also be a video on the complex bets you see here, like P-pair, B-pair, perfect pair, P-bonus, etc. If you're interested, make sure you subscribe to not lose out on the new content. Great, so I hope you enjoyed this first introductory video on Baccarat. If you did, please like and leave a comment. I also remind you that in the link in the description, you can find a list of safe and certified online casinos in your country, which I recommend using if you want peace of mind and to avoid scams, rigged games, or even playing in illegal casinos in your country and having trouble with the law. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. See you soon, ninjas.